Hello, I'm Topher, the blue-collar gentleman, and I welcome you to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about male role models. Where are the men's role models these days? Seems very few athletes, celebrities, or titans of industry can fill those shoes. Sure, some of them make the effort above and beyond just posing for a photo op. For example, LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal are two athletes that seem to be very involved with helping the less fortunate. Both Elton John and John Legend are musicians with their own charities. And it would take me too long to list all the causes that are funded fully or in part by entrepreneurs Steve Ballmer and Mark Cuban. But how many male role models exist who are just role models? I'm not talking about celebrities who use their status to help those less fortunate. I'm talking about men whose accomplishments are exclusively making life better for those around them. So let's ask, what exactly is a role model? Is it someone who's perfect in every way? Or is an ideal role model for men someone who has visible scars from bad behavior? Some say sinners make the best saints. Might something like that be true for male role models? I came across this explanation of a role model, and I think it works very well. A role model is someone whose behavior, example, or success is or can be emulated by others. For the purposes of this video, and for the discussion that I hope ensues in the comments, I'd like to use that as the operational definition of role model. That being the case, it appears as though different gentlemen could be role models for different reasons. This opens the door for possibly having role models who don't possess all the qualities that a gentleman would prefer. Let us use tennis great John McEnroe to illustrate my point. In the 1980s, John McEnroe won 3 Wimbledon titles. He was a force to be reckoned with. He was also guilty of being hot-headed, arguing with umpires, tossing his racket, and being an overall tantrum thrower. Now, if you were looking to improve your tennis game, he would have been an excellent role model. He was known for his dedication to working on the same stroke over and over and over again, even when he had it down pat. Accounts from other tennis players back then suggest that no amount of cold, rain, or outside factors could keep him from his daily training routine. But since the channel is dedicated to gentlemanly behavior, he was one of the last men I'd suggest my viewers and subscribers look to for how to conduct oneself. Now, I use John McEnroe for a variety of reasons, not the least of which being that in the years that have followed his tennis career, he has gone on record as saying he regrets much of his behavior from back then, and he wishes he could change it. He's gone to therapy and sought out anger management. He's even capable of laughing at himself from those days, which I think is a very important trait for a gentleman to have. Another reason I use the tennis great for my purposes here is that anger is something I grapple with myself constantly. Meditation and yoga have both been some help. Going into cardiac arrest a week before my 45th birthday definitely made me aware I had little choice but to calm down. But the truth is, I have not really done a lot to deal with my anger. If I put forth any effort, I should be able to find some kind of help with my issues. And I'm holding myself accountable by mentioning it here on this channel. Getting back to role models, who exactly should men's role models of the 21st century be? I've already listed someone I admire, John McEnroe. I'm also a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He and I share a birthday, and he's a true success story. At the same time, he's guilty of cheating on his then-wife Maria Shriver with a housekeeper and having a child out of wedlock with her. That's obviously not ideal behavior for a male role model, but perhaps his imperfections make him a better paragon. The former Mrs. Schwarzenegger may have a different view of his infidelity, making him a more down-to-earth role model, but we outsiders are always going to have a different perspective than her. I admire the former governor's dedication and assistance with Special Olympics. I particularly like how he handled someone who tried to belittle its participants. I've included a link down below that will show you just exactly how gentlemanly he handled someone whose behavior was less than civil. He's an outspoken advocate of the LGBTQ+ community, although in my opinion he needs to come around about same-sex marriage, another imperfection that makes him worthy of being a role model. He's deeply interested in helping the homeless and poverty-stricken, and last of all, he's always very well dressed when in public. So now I ask you, the viewers, Who do you think some of today's best male role models are? I'd particularly like to hear from those of you who recognize role models who don't have fan clubs or enjoy much in the way of celebrity. Of course, I want to hear about your Uncle Barney who plays Santa for the foster kids in the neighborhood every year, but I'd rather hear about someone the rest of us might be able to look up and learn from their example. What's more, if you have different male role models for different reasons or for different values, let's hear about your list. Together, we can work on creating the definition or explanation of who and what the 21st century gentleman is. Let's learn who's influencing today's gentleman and work towards making their impact greater and their stories better known among the community, especially among the younger generation. Until then, thanks again for watching, and I appreciate you coming back. Topher.